Welcome to the Big Metal Detecting Podcast.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Dave Sadler from the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine and also from the Big Podcast Network. Tonight on the Big Metal Detecting Podcast, we have our guest shortly, Ben Yeates. He's a metal detectorist, I think, from Sheffield. He's definitely Yorkshire, anyway, I can tell it with his accent. But he'll be coming on tonight and speaking to us about bits and bobs, so we'll get into that shortly. In the meantime, news. I'm going to throw some news your way this evening. Firstly, absolutely stunning find. Archaeologists unearthed 100 Viking swords in northern Estonia, and they are absolutely stunning as well. It's the largest find of Viking swords in Estonia to date, and the fragments are discovered from two closely located sites in a coastal area of North Estonia, most specifically in the territory of ancient Estonian country in Northern. Honestly, you have to, if you please Google it, I've said it before numerous times, these things can't be seen a lot of the time, can't they? So you have to follow my words and go on the Google. Anglo-Saxon discoveries have been made by archaeologists on Holy Island. For those of you who don't know Holy Island, that is where Lindisfarne went. Over on the east coast of the country. And some of these finds quite magnificent. There's a massive key that's been found. A lot of grave markers from roughly the 8th century. And I believe this has been done by the big ventures usually do the site themselves. They've been doing the site for a number of years now. So again, pop onto interweb and have a nice look at that, and you'll be able to find the new archaeological finds on Holy Island, and also, as I said previously, the I've just gone onto the Spreaker site, and it doesn't seem to be we'll look at it anyway. Everything should be alright. I'm looking on Spreaker. Yes, we are. We're running fine and dandy. Good evening, Peter. Good evening, AT Pros. I do apologise for that. I was looking to find the page that was on Spreaker, and unfortunately it wasn't there. So, for those of you quickly joining us now, we've thrown some news together. I've talked some gibberish while I get things in order. And tonight's guest, we have Ben Yeates. Hi, Ben. How are you?
Good evening, Dave.
Are you well?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm absolutely knackered.
Bless you.
Always like that, so we don't have to worry about that. So, please, can you quickly introduce yourself to the listeners?
Yeah, I've not so long been into metal detecting. Always something I fancy to go at. When we're on beach in Bridlington with my parents, dad, mum, what are they doing? I never actually got round to it. And about a year and a half ago, talking to one of my friends at local, and I said I'd like a go at it. And he said, I've got one sat in my loft. And it turned out to be an old Maplin detector. Must be Georgian, it were ancient. But he lent it us, and we went on to Mablethorpe Beach. And that's how it first started. We got onto the beach, had a walk around for 2-3 hours, just digging a couple of coins up, a few can tops and cans, to be honest. And then, being a windy day, Laura pulled a phone out of her pocket and sent a fiver flying down beach. So we made £3.20, and I ended up chasing a fiver for nearly a quarter of a mile down beach. But
did you get the fiver?
I got the fiver. I weren't letting that go.
Proper Yorkshire.
Yeah, too right. But yeah, that started it off, and as soon as we got back to caravan, we were addicted straight away. So started looking at what machine to buy. We'd had a little bit of joy with the old machine, and it just went from there, and it kind of snowballed, and what a fantastic hobby it is.
It certainly is that. So you're from Sheffield, is it?
Yeah, just about. Workshop near Sheffield, yeah.
I know Workshop, yeah, no problem there. And I take it you've How long has it you've been metal detecting now?
Just over a year. It was back end of September when we first tried on that beach in Mablethorpe, and it's just got bigger and bigger so fast, and it seems like I've been doing it years.
It seems like that for everyone, believe me. Mind you, in the amount of years I've been participating, it actually feels like I've been doing a lot less of the time. But I think it's that's more to do with me not being able to get out. Now I've got not so much complaint. There's a few people saying that they can't hear me. I'm very faint. So if you just give me one moment, I'm just going to try to change microphones mid-flow, and hopefully that will solve that issue.
You're starting to get louder. It must be working.
Now, is that any better? Anybody?
That's a lot
AT
today.
Prozac is that better at all?
I've got you well at this end.
Marvellous. And AT Prozac? Anybody else? I tell you what, can you ask them for me then, Ben?
Is anybody else picking up Dave on better speaker, AT Prozac?
We'll crack on anyway. Oh, there you go. Loud and clear. So I'm working fully now. So I'm actually using the microphone that I used at Detectables for in the field. So apologies everybody for that. No idea what was going on then. But hey, you can hear me now. So tonight, you've contacted me a few weeks ago to discuss the potential of advertising your new website, which you've developed and are hoping to gain some people's inclusion in it and what have you throughout the hobby. Tell us a little bit about your website, please, Ben.
Well, a good friend of mine, he's a club organiser for Derbyshire Detecting Club. He had his garage broke into a few weeks ago, and his metal detector got pinched, and some of his kids' stuff out of the garage. And I had a word with a couple of other group organisers who I regularly dig with, Faf, Coiled Soil, Hammered Hunters, about getting something in place where people register their equipment that we want to roll out nationally. I'm aware that there is somebody who already does a metal detector registration, but I wanted to do more than that. I wanted to try and create a community, so to speak. So the idea come about after talking to a few. I thought I'll try and develop a website. I've built one before, so I ended up coming up with National Metal Detector Register. I've got a few clubs on board so far, and a few members have also signed up from the different clubs. But what I wanted to do is give something back to the members as well. Obviously, every group you dig with requires you to have insurance, whether it be National Council for Metal Detecting or the FID. But what I want is where they can stolen goods. If you were to buy or go to buy a second-hand metal detector off of eBay, you could ask them to see that serial number before you bought the item. If everybody was registered with this, then the stolen items would feed back to us, and you can check against the database. Every group that registers with us, they also get informed of every time there's something stolen. They inform us, and we pass it through as many groups as we can that are registered with us throughout the UK. And what I wanted to do is try and cut down the theft going on in the hobby, because from what I can see, it seems to be very targeted. There was a guy on the XP ORX UK detecting site last night. Well, it was posted last night. He's had his car broke into while he's been down a field, and basically they put his back window through and nicked his equipment out the back. Now, if all the clubs in the UK was on board with this, then every club in the UK would know his serial number and what they're looking out for. And if all members registered as well, then the groups can check registrations against machine. We've had a ORX stolen in this area, all the groups in the UK would know about it, but right, we'll just have a look at everybody's ORXs on site today and make sure their serials match with their registration card. But as well as doing that, to give back to all the members, monthly prize draws where you can win metal detecting equipment and whether it be apps, caps, digging tools. I've even done a promotion for the first 750 members. One of them will be put into the giveaway and one will win the new Simplex. As soon as we can get our hands on it and the 750 is being met, one member will win that. Now, the more people that sign up, basically, the more we're going to give away. Once a year, we'll pick so many clubs and donate to the charities that they're sponsoring and behind on their club events, and just something that creates more of a community while trying to cut the crime out of the hobby. If people can't take stolen machines anywhere, there's no need for these machines to come back. They're going to be tried and sold elsewhere. They're not going to be on group digs, and that would be the aim. I think it'd be great if all clubs could eventually sort of say, right, we require you to have your metal detectors registered so that we're covered and we know we're not going to get people trying to get on with stolen goods.
I've got a question for you regarding with that first and foremost, Ben. If somebody is on a site and doesn't allow, it's like me in work now. I have to sign a document as I started work several years ago, which allows my bags to be checked going in and out of work.
Yes.
So, how does that go onto a metal detecting site? They don't have the authority to be able to ask somebody to check their machine. So, how would you work around? How would that be worked around?
Well, I think it's a lot of it is about honesty. I can't see that many members who attend these digs have a problem with whoever organises them, because it's their event, it's their rally, etc. Saying, "Do you mind if we just prove that your equipment is legitimate?" It's not like you're asking to go through the bags or the pockets, but just to check that your equipment is kosher. We've organised this event for you. Yes, you do pay to come with us. You have to have insurance to be with us, but we'd just like to check that there's nothing amiss with equipment.
Mm. And then, of course, there's the issue. If I go onto the internet now, onto Facebook, and I go onto Facebook Marketplace and I put metal detector in, I get several hundred metal detectors pop up. If I buy a metal detector from this, and obviously you're not going to have every single metal detector in existence in the UK, or if you spread it out internationally, registered on the site, how does it, if I buy a machine off Facebook in Goodwill and then come along to one of these sites, and it just so happens that my machine is registered on the site, but I bought it in Goodwill, what happens then?
Well, what we're trying to do is, because every metal detector that's stolen is going to feed back to us, it'll be registered on our site. So if you're buying second hand, what I would ask for of the person you're buying from is, can I have a picture of the serial number before I purchase this? Then,
but again, not a lot of people. If I'm starting out metal detecting for the first time, there's a chap to work with several years ago. He's contacted me tonight. Yeah. Dave, how'd you go about metal detecting, whatnot? I've told him all the way to go about it. The best, cheaper machines, entry-level machines to probably get hold of. He's just going to go and buy one. He's not going to know any of this register. He's not going to go any of the databases that exist, and he'll just go and buy it again out of Goodwill. If he goes along to an FAF dig, for instance, thereafter, and they ask him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I've got this." You can see what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that. And with it being a new scheme, it's going to take something that's going to take time to roll out. And
you're breaking up a bit there, young man.
Yeah, I've grabbed a disturbance.
Disturbance in the force. Oh, you sound like Stan Collier at the moment. I think that was his name. Norman Collier.
Are we back on, Dave?
Yes, we are. Anybody listening, is the breaking up for yourselves, or is it just over to me?
It sounds like it's coming from you, Dave, at this stage.
Right, I do apologise. There must be something definitely wrong with the kit. I do apologise, everybody, but we'll crack on nonetheless. So, where were we at?
Yes, second-hand purchases.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a new scheme, and we wanted to roll it out, but it's going to take time for everything to sort of come along. Now, in, let's say 2 years, if you were to give your friend the same information on starting, maybe you would turn around and say, right, you need your insurance, and I'd also advise you to look at this website before you purchase any items, just to check that you're not going to end up buying stolen goods. As time goes on, we'll build a bigger list of all the stolen equipment. It's not going to be something that can be done instantly.
Yeah.
It's going to have to build over time. I mean, more than happy to add all the people that have stolen in the past to the register, because eventually, if you register, it might crop up on our website. As they register, well, hang on a minute, but we had this down as stolen. So then, it's a place where we inform the police with, this is what we do, and somebody just tried to register stolen equipment. We then go straight back to, where have they bought it from?
Yeah, we're still having issues with the line. You're going in and out every now and again. The computer's calmed down, so I don't think it's that. So I'm thinking it might be the internet connection's all alright as well. Tony Kaywood he's had a couple of questions in. The first one was, surely it would mean anyone who's brought a dodgy machine won't go to them digs.
It would, but in an ideal world, if every group was to be on board and request their members to also have their machines registered like they have to have insurance, then it really does narrow down where people are able to dig.
And then he says, surely the actual usefulness will be for when the police need to check the machines that they find with burglars, and obviously then they can check any databases and such like.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Police can then get in contact with us if they were to ever pull any machines out of stolen goods, etc. Then they can contact us. If we've got them metal detectors logged with ourselves, we know who they belong to. Hey there, Dave, it sounds like you're on a windy beach.
I'm trying to alleviate anything that could be causing any of the issues.
You've sussed it.
And I'm clueless now.
That's it, you've done it.
Right, I've closed the window. Right, again, apologies.
Is that the room window or the computer window?
The room window. So that's closed now. I didn't realise that would be an issue. Oh, there you go. People are saying it works now. It was the bloody window that was open all along. I do apologise. A
big draft.
Yeah. So, what would be the process for registration?
Well, basically, you go to www.nationalmdr.co.uk, have a read through, and it basically explains why I wanted to create this, what I wanted to do with it. It's a registration of, it's £6 a year, breaks down to 50p a month. Your metal detector and details are logged on a secure database on a non-internet connected laptop. But also with that, you're automatically put into the monthly prize draws. And the more members we can get on board with this, the more we can give back. It's not just solely about registering the details. It's about building this community and the trust back, and trying to get rid of any criminal element that's in the hobby. It's a lovely, placid hobby. It's absolutely fantastic. But like I said earlier, you've got people that seem to be specifically targeting this sort of event. There's been a couple of times where I've read on group sites we've had somebody up and down past all parked cars while we've been detecting, scoping out what's in. And like I said, that chap yesterday, his back window put through, his metal detector gone, and I don't think his car insurance would cover that. I'd be very shocked if it did. But the more we can get registered and online, and the more groups that sort of follow along with us, we can put the word out. If any of the groups think, well, that guy over there normally comes with a Garrett, all of a sudden he's got a Knox. It's, are you registered to your machine, or would you mind us just checking your serial number? And they can look on the website and, well, hang on a minute, yeah, that's stolen. And then it's up to the clubs to, well, basically to inform authorities that, like you say, it could be a second-hand machine that's been bought without knowing. But the longer this membership can be built up and has time to go, the less chance there is of people buying stolen goods. Because eventually I'm hoping that people are going to turn around and say, well, you need your insurance, but I'd advise you to look at this website as well, and just to cover what you're buying and make sure it's not stolen.
I'm with you. Let's get back to the questions. Aaron of South Coast Detecting says, is this a relaunched detector registration? I signed up for free, or do I need to pay 6 months? No, Aaron, I can answer that one straight away. It's a totally different website entirely. The detector register's totally different. This is a new thing. Tony Kaywood says the raffle idea will help. 80 Pro Zach says if machines are sold through LP, they should automatically be registered. Is this a better idea? So 80 Prozac saying shouldn't they be registered automatically through different companies, LP, Regden, Crawford's, Joan Allen, Detecnics, etc. There are a lot of good in that idea, but a prime example for me, and it's something I'd like to ask Ben as well. One of my colleagues, Jim Barnes, has had more metal detectors than I've known anybody to ever have ever. In the 5 years I've known him, he must have had about 25 machines, although he keeps going back to this and that. Now, I see that you're allowed to have 5 items. Now, if Jim changes his machine 6 times in a year, does he not miss out on registering one of them items, or does he have to pay again?
Well, what we're actually looking into is trying to make sort of more room to register more items, because I can understand that a lot of people, I mean, me myself, I've got a machine, a pinpointer, a set of headphones, and other little bits and bats that I want registering on my card. But as we build it up, we're hoping to sort of take it up to 10 items. So that covers people's primary machine, the secondary, a couple of pinpointers and accessories. Now, like your friend's got, it sounds on it, quite a lot of equipment. Would he? What I have done is also created another sale on the page for updating or removing your equipment. So if you were halfway through the year decide, right, I'm getting rid of me ORX, I'm buying a Deus, then it'd be an additional £3 to have your card swapped over. So we remove your serial number of the machine that you've moved on and put your new details in.
Another question, which I was actually going to say, I was going to say in a different manner. Aaron of South Coast Detecting again asks, the detector register he signed up for is free. So what do you actually get other than entry into a free prize draw for that £6, considering that the other website exists for free and obviously it's been there a while?
Yeah, I mean, big up to whoever's running that for free. I think it is a good idea, but the first time I ever heard about the detector register was only the other day when somebody come back to me about it after I'd already tried to get this up off the ground. I think it's a brilliant idea to have, but like I say, I wanted it to be more of a community. So for your £6 a year, your machines are registered, same as they are on the free website. That's not a problem. But it's about giving back. You're in with a chance 12 times a year to win prizes for your money. It's not a money-making racket. It's about building a bigger community to try and cover the UK as a whole. End of each year, money goes to charities of selected digs. The more people that are on, the more prizes that are given out. It's not there to make money. It's there to build up and become a community.
Mm-hmm. If, for instance, a Deus is registered, is that comes as obviously 3 pieces: the wireless headphones, the coil, the remote. Is that one item or is that 3 items?
With mine, I've got the XPO RX, and I've registered mine all separately.
Right, I'm with you.
So I've got 4 items. I've got my remote, my coil, my pinpointer, and my headphones.
Okay, I'm just trying to go through through the questions to see if there is anything else. So, please apologise. So, what groups have you currently got involved, Ben?
Right, so far we have, bear with me, I've got a list here. So far we've got Derbyshire Detecting Club, Digging It Deep Metal Detecting Club, Surrey Metal Detecting Club, Underground Metal Detecting, and online we've got XPORX UK Detecting, Metal Detecting Media, Extreme Metal Detecting UK, Divi Detectorists. I can understand that some of these don't have events, but the community and the feedback that I'm getting from them is a brilliant idea, and it's just helping to spread the word. Every time I add to a new group, I'm trying not to add to them all at once, so I know who I've covered and who I haven't, and I send them our details and just basically say, would your group be interested in registering with us? It's free for groups to register. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's only been, I think I rolled it out last Monday or Tuesday. So we've got a fair few members already signed up, and I've had another group add today. I spoke to Kirsty from Finderfield. She's going to have a look and look at registering their group as well. But as I keep speaking to her, I'm getting a lot of interest in groups signing up.
Mm. Again, please don't think I'm in any way attacking what you're doing. I'm just I'm coming up with things in my head, and I'm asking questions that I'm sure other people would answer, so it gives you the opportunity to respond to them.
Yeah, that's fine.
Brilliant. So in some respects, wouldn't it be a better idea for me to register for free, but the person, mind you, I can see what you're going to say about the community and the raffles and such like, but the person to check actually pays a fee to thingy, you know what I mean? It's going to be free for the detectorist, but not for the person who's trying to find the information.
You see, the people who are looking, because there's going to be a lot of people buying second-hand machines. I know if I got opportunity of a second machine at the right price, I'd be looking to take it. But what I would hope is that it's not stolen, and there's not really anywhere in depth where you could check against it. And like I say, over a couple of years, this will hopefully build up where, yeah, the members pay to have their equipment registered. It's like the guy who's had his equipment nicked. I messaged him. I says, please send me your details, and I will put it on the site and get it round as many clubs as I can. And he's like, oh, thank you. That's really nice of you for offering to sort of help and broadcast it as much as you can, basically. Mm-hmm. But how would you feel if your equipment were took? Would you want everybody knowing as fast as possible?
Oh, yes, indeed. But
yeah,
you see, in my eyes as well, I see that the machine is likely to be sold at a car boot sale, for instance. And if I'm picking something up from a car boot sale, I'm not in a position to check a register while I'm stood in a muddy field with no 3G.
Well, no, I can understand that, and there is going to be slip-throughs in the process. I mean, the more that are on board with it, and the more groups we can get behind it, it narrows the chances down. That eventually this machine, whether they re-register with us, whether police see stolen goods, or whether it's a check on a group dig, there's more chance of finding it if everybody knows what they're looking for.
So if John Smith approached me at the start of his rally and he said, right, can I have a look at your machine, and he checks the registration of it, it's going to be a long process then for him to be able to come up with the details automatically. So it's going to take him, I don't know, will he be able to get access to at the middle of the field? Because let's face it, a lot of the sites that we go on, we don't have much in the way of reception as it is. So how is he going to be able to check the necessary details against that if he's got no reception? And obviously then it just, it devalues everything that's taking place.
Well, what I'm going to do is every time there's an update to the list, all the event and group organisers will be emailed a list of stolen equipment, what the machine is, who it's made by, and serial numbers. So there's absolutely no reason why they couldn't print them off beforehand. Right, we've got a checklist just in case these appear, and have that as a standing thing when they're on site. Every time it's updated, everybody will be informed of all the stolen equipment.
Yeah. And then what happens if my machine, which I've bought off the car boot sale or off eBay or off Facebook, the serial number does match something on the register? Am I automatically told to leave the site, or do they call the police and have my machine taken away? What happens then?
Well, me personally, I mean, I can't say what each group would do, but I'd like to see it where the police are called. We've got a guy on here with stolen equipment. Let them deal with it. Right, sunshine, where you bought your equipment from, and then, right, well, I've got it on eBay. Is what is who I've purchased it from. All the details. Yeah, you're going to get I bought it at a car boot, but if it's Gumtree, if it's eBay, if it's from a metal detecting shop, second hand,
there'll be a paper trail.
Yeah, you can follow it back.
Brilliant. Well, I think we've. If anybody else got any more questions regarding this, Pete Terrell say, with the best will in the world, there's no way we can stand on a dig and check everybody's serial numbers against the list. Worse still, how do we then have a conversation with the guy with a big spade in his hand? Which is a good point. AT Prozac says, the best cause to stop this, be more careful with your detectors, don't put them in a garage, and if they're in the house, they'll be insured through house insurance. Prevention is better than a cure, which is a very good point. Indeed.
I do agree. I completely agree. I'm not in the habit of leaving any of my equipment in the back of my car, to be honest. But these things do happen. If you're at a dig and you've took 3 machines with you, you're not going to walk up and down the field with all 3 machines.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. And like I say, I think these are targeted crimes. People, whether it's being pinched to order, I wouldn't like to say, but obviously somebody knows, well, this guy's off walking down that field and I wonder what he's got in back of his car. To me, it strikes too much of a coincidence that at that point where somebody's parked up alone in a car park near a field or in a lay-by, that somebody's pulled up and broke into a car.
Yeah. Tony Kaywood says, if the police are called on a dig, then the organisation will probably lose members quickly.
I think it may possibly work the other way, where the group is being proactive as to, I'm sorry, but we are not standing for crime on this dig. It should make it feel safer.
So Tony's asked another question. I'm not going to ask it. Well, he's made another statement. I'm not going to say it in the same manner of which he said it, because I understand how he's saying it. But the other site, Detect and Register, is a free site, which
Yes.
which is is free. Yours is £6. If I decided I don't want to be involved in the draws, is there not a way into the site free in that respect? For instance, if I'm not bothered about the draws, I'm happy just to have my machine registered. Is that not something that can be done, or is it a definite £6 registration fee?
Well, what we're doing, we're not just storing your details on a database. We're actually sending you a membership card out with all your registered details on. So you've got to understand that there's postage, there's envelopes, there's printing, there's card printing, and everything that goes with it. We'd rather have the members be able to be checked on group digs than just on a database sat in my back room.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And there is a question that I've come up with, and I do apologise for this one. Data Protection Act. Are you registered with the Data Protection Act? Then will that be something that you'll obviously be utilising on the website?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I am trained in GDPR. I got that certificate through the company I work for because I work in a care home, and that has to be part of what I do. But yeah, it's all, as it comes together, it's all going to be certified and correctly done, so to speak.
Again, another question, and please don't think I'm on the attack or anything. It's just information I have to get in my head, as well as obviously other people be asking that. Shouldn't the Data Protection Act already be in place before the website goes live?
Like I put in the terms and conditions that basically the information you give us will be stored on a secure database. I've wrote everything down about it in the terms and conditions, and that the information is safe with us. It's not going to no third parties. The only time we use that information is if you say to us that your equipment's been stolen, then your machine and serial numbers are dispatched. No other information is given to anybody.
Right, yeah.
Unless we were to have sort of the police ring, we've got this metal detector in our custody. Can you identify it to a person?
I'm with you. Right, yeah. Well, that's all my questions out the way regarding the. And let me go back onto the website so to get it right. The National Metal Detector Registration website. nationalmdr.co.uk. Brilliant. So that's all my questions on there. Please, I'm going to continue to watch the chat room to see if there's any other information anybody requires, any more statements, any other questions, and we'll pass that on straight away to Ben. Back to metal detecting, Ben.
Yeah.
You've been metal detecting now a year.
Yeah, not long at all.
Are you a member of a group or anything like that?
Yeah, I first started off with Find a Field. Closest group I could find, and somebody recommended them to me when I first started. And then they were a little bit far away for me to travel sometimes, so I joined Derbyshire Detecting Club and Coil to the Soil as well, because I live pretty central between South Yorkshire, Nottinghamshire and Derbyshire. Also Hammered Hunters, I've been on a few digs with them, and I don't try to travel too far because, well, after a few, especially when I was running the old Garrett 400 with big coil on, a couple of hours in rain, it were enough for my back. But now I'm running ORX, I travel a little bit further and I have a few more extra hours digging. So yeah, I do like to get round the different clubs, and also something I thought about, if we can pull this project off, is maybe once a week travel to different clubs around the country and just be more proactive, make us presence known. Mm-hmm. We're down south digging with Surrey Detecting Club. They say we've got National Metal Detector Register on site. Anybody who's got the card, would you just please come and check in with them before you start your dig? And being out there and showing that it's not just a database, that there is something happening, and we're trying to take it back to the hobbyists.
So, in your year of metal detecting, have you made many finds?
I've had a couple of good ones actually. The FLO's still got them at the minute. I had a lovely Alexander the Great coin. It looked very much copper on one side and silver on other, and I got some feedback off at group sites, but they seemed to think it could be a fake because it was far too round for what that era would be. They'd expect it to be clipped and cut. But I mean, the portrait on it was actually quite amazing, and I still haven't got the report back from the FLO yet. I've had a lovely Lamb of God matrix seal. That it were a bit tarnished and a bit battered, but that's off for registration as well. And I think that dates back to about the 1300s. I mean, that Alexander the Great coin, if that is right, would have been about 250, 300 BC, if I'm not wrong. Also, Emperor, I think it's pronounced Galenus or Galenius. Lovely little Roman coin that way. The FLO's got that one as well, trying to date it and just check that it's right. And Henry II, small, well, in fact it is small, but it's a long cross Henry II hammered coin, and I think they've got to be my top 4 finds.
And have you been privy to another fascinating find at all?
Crotal bell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a lovely one of them, and it still tinkles.
Brilliant.
But
Gareth
yeah.
Howard says you're Alexander the Great. What area was that found?
Old Bolsover, Derbyshire.
I'm with you, yeah. Or Bolsover Castle, that way.
Yeah, that way out, yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah, to be honest with you, all my finds have actually come from that area. I've not really pulled anything up on group digs. I remember when we first started with Garrett with big Nell coil on it, we were digging I think it was Finderfield in Leicester, side at motorway, and got this banging signal, and I'm digging, and we were down nearly 20 inch to find a pipe running all the way through the field.
We've all done that.
Yeah, some sort of drain pipe. I've got pictures of me with my legs in hole. But yeah, most of what I found's actually come off a permission that I gained about 6 months after I'd started. I get down onto it when I get a chance, but I do like to get out on group digs and have a chat with people and catch up with, because I've made quite a lot of friends through the hobby in just a year.
That's one thing that I can completely agree with. The amount of people who, people come and go in your life, old friends from old jobs, from drinking buddies, etc. They come in and out of your life. You say hello to them semi-regularly, but the one thing that I've learnt over the past year and a half is that things like group digs, where you do meet up with people, for me, Detectable was fantastic because I got to meet up with Luke again, with Pete Terrell, with Scotty B. I got to meet all these people and spend time with them again, and it's, community-wise, it is. I repeat myself quite often. It is a fantastic thing, so I can quite agree with you there.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. It's nice to get out, talk to different people, because you're walking up a field and there's always somebody, or whether it's me asking them, have you found out yet? And then you're in a 10-15 minute conversation. Well, look at this.
Yeah.
But I had this other week, and you find, oh, right, well, I'm Ben, nice to meet you. You get the name, you end up adding them on Facebook, and it's building another community in your own life, isn't it, when you think about it?
It is, yeah. And Tony Kaywood just reminded me, and him. How can I forget Tony? Apart from the fact you're a West Ham United fan, but there you go. Gareth Howard says, brilliant stuff. Just thinking, Alexander the Great and Derbyshire, what is the connection?
That's baffled me, that one has.
It could be anything.
Yeah. Lovely coin.
I can imagine. I would like, if you wouldn't mind sending me a picture in the future, I'd like to have a look at that myself.
I've got some on my phone, Dave. I'll send you them through.
Marvellous.
Not a problem.
So where am I? More about you. And what machines, apart from what you've said already, what machines have you used in that year?
Well, started off with the Maplin. I'm not even sure what model number it were. It reminded me a bit, actually, the Garrett, same sort of screen with discrimination notches on top. Then we had a look for basically a starter machine, not too expensive, something reliable, basically, that we could go and have a go with, get into field. We weren't spending too much money just to make sure it were an hobby that weren't going to last 3 months and then we'll stop with.
Yeah.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, I never had a problem with Garrett. It were a good machine, a very good starter machine, but with the Nell Thunder coil on it, and if I remember rightly, that 30, it might have been 15 inches, that I can't remember the size exactly. But I were really starting to struggle, especially when it were muddy and raining, swinging it for too long. I don't suffer too good with my back, so we decided to look at upgrading again and go for something a bit lighter, a little bit less weight, and that's when we spotted that the XP had released the ORX. Had a look through that and ummed and ahed, saved for a couple of months, and eventually decided to buy it. And I've not looked back since, to be honest.
And that's the machine you've found most of the items with?
It is, yeah. Running high frequency coil on it. It takes some learning, but there is a way to tell, because the high frequency seems to love iron as well, but there is a way to tell with it just by running slightly off of the target, and the ORX gives a grunt on iron, and if it's getting a brilliant signal, if you just come off it slightly and it gives that grunt, you know it's big iron.
I'm with you. Well, I've not used the AUX itself. I did pick it up and have a play with it at the Rodney Cook Memorial Rally at one of the stalls, trade stalls that were there, and I've never felt anything so light. And given my physical position, it would be potentially an idea for myself to look at one in the future. So yes, I wholeheartedly agree with the AUX as a machine for people who can't bend over as much as they'd like to and walk around as much as they'd like to.
I completely agree. I keep looking for a plastic shovel, but I don't think they do the job.
I've actually got one and they don't.
Bend a bit too much.
And in some cases it bends.
Yeah, I can well imagine. I've been to steal one. They mind a plastic one.
Yeah. I went out with a group called Dudley Metal Detectors last Wednesday, which I'm a member of.
Right.
And, I had a fantastic time. It's the first time I've been out for a while. Thoroughly enjoyed myself. Had a good laugh, and right next to a canal. So halfway through the day, me and my mate went back. He's a bit old, and he said, I'll go sleep in the car now. So I said, no, we'll go in a bit. I said, I'll just have a magnet fish, and ended up the organiser and several other people taking me magnets and going up and down the canal. So,
yeah,
another
I bought one of them.
Oh, it was fantastic. And the sun was beating down, so it was brilliant.
Yeah,
and then I went out to one of my own permissions, which there's a certain field on the property which I've been desperate to get onto for 5 years, and for 5 years it's absolutely laden with potatoes or whatever crops that he goes on. And they phoned him up the other night. He went, yeah, that field you want's free. So straight down the next morning, absolutely lashing down with rain. Couldn't have enjoyed myself anymore. I was wet as anything, but it was absolutely brilliant. And I think my find of the day there, because we do talk about what we've done ourselves semi-regularly on the programme, it was a 1794 Duke of Lancaster token from Preston. And again, it goes back to what Gareth asked earlier about the Alexander the Great being found in Derbyshire. What is the connection? On the next field to this, I've actually had a Druid's penny from Anglesey. So I've had two tokens from two drastically different places a good few 100 miles away in different directions, and it astounds me how these get into these places. I once found a Nazi Reichspfennig, which, it's quite a common find in the UK, and we know that the Germans were in the UK, the Nazis and what have you, but how did they get over here? Brilliant.
It does make you wonder, doesn't it? I mean, only thing I could think of is maybe via horseback, somebody was going from somewhere to somewhere, and you're on a route that they must have took in the past, and these have been dropped.
But something. I mean, you might have a pocket full of florins, for instance, and one of these. You've got one token in your pocket, and that one token seems to be found in the field. It's absolutely. Where was I as well? Shropshire, and I found a Liverpool token. And it was a bit of a sign because I'm a Liverpool fan, and that night Liverpool were playing Manchester United in one of the European trophies, I think, a couple of years ago. And lo and behold, Liverpool won, so I take that as a sign.
You knew it were coming.
Absolutely.
From the earth.
So, any other places of consequence that you've detected there, Ben?
No, not really. Been staying pretty much around Derbyshire, South Yorkshire and Nottinghamshire, a little bit in Leicestershire. I've had a couple of goes on beach, and it's something that I'd like to do a bit more of. It's just, like I say, it's travelling, and you've got to build it in as part of an holiday. It's not something I'd just drive to coast and do for a day. Like I say, I enjoy getting out with groups too much and having a chat and joining in, and well, it's like a festivity when everybody gets together. Everybody enjoys it. Also, for my birthday, Laura bought me a gold panning kit, and that's something I'd like to have a go at. Maybe Scotland or Wales for a week.
Definitely have to be Wales, all that Welsh gold.
That's what I'm thinking.
They've just started mining again, so you never know what you'll get in them rivers around there.
Exactly, and bonuses, ORX is waterproof.
Yes, it certainly is.
Well, not the control panel. Don't ever put that in water.
Somebody can hold that for you outside the river.
Yeah, that's it. It's bleeping.
Well, you'll have your earphones on anyway for that, won't you?
Yeah, but that's it. You can leave that. You can leave it a fair few meters away, and it still responds. There's no lag on it, even by distance.
We had a guest on last week called John Bradbury, who's a YouTuber. John's Detecting Adventures, another Yorkshire chap, but now living over in Lancashire.
Right.
He spends a lot of time with Spinner Disc Metal Detectors, who were a shop up in Halifax. And, his primary, well, he goes out often in the UK, obviously, metal detecting, but one of the primary reasons he started it was to show people his underwater metal detecting on the continent, in Spain and such like. So he is very interested, and some of his videos are also very interested in his tales. So I can't remember what the top of my head, what machine he's using, but I think he's taken a quest over to the continent with him this time, to Ibiza to play with. So I'm looking forward to seeing them videos as well of his underwater. So yes, these machines can do it, and I mean I'm sure Pete Terrell from LP will tell us all about how the launch of the Simplex, the Nocta Macro Simplex back at Detectable, which was fantastically produced by a mermaid in a big tank of water.
I did watch that.
So did I. I was stood next to it, wouldn't let anybody in front of me. As you'd hear on the video.
I'm actually looking forward to seeing this Simplex in some good live reviews, because it's getting a massive talk up at minute.
It certainly is. I've actually, on the Archaeology and Metal Detecting Facebook page, if anybody is interested while I'm saying that, there's two pages, one in capital letters, which is the group, which is just there's organised events through there via UK Dirt Fishing and Surrey, Sussex. I can't remember the name of the other group, I'm afraid. And obviously community chat, what have you. And the page itself is where all information is put through, videos, news articles and such like. And I've actually asked a question several hours ago, which I'm going to find now and see if there's any answers on it, about the simplexes obviously being released this past week or so, and are there any what are the users' first impressions? And there's been one or two that have said it's fantastic, they really enjoy using it. It's not that difficult to understand as opposed to other detectors, because it's aimed at a more entry level price, but there's obviously a lot of technology within it that makes it more worthwhile for its money, let's say. So yes, I'm also looking forward to seeing that. I think Sunday night Sid Perry actually released a video with one of his review of it, and it's looking good. Pete Sorrell said the mermaid definitely took some planning. Scotty B said, "What a mermaid!" And Steve Pettican says he's out this weekend if the weather's nice. The weather isn't looking great this weekend. I was supposed to be going to a dig in Whitchurch, which has been cancelled this afternoon due to the water that's already there and the rest of the water that's on its way. Scotty B's off to Gretna this Saturday for Roman Fort and the medieval fort. So I hope he's not in the motorhome he was in when we were at Detectival, because none of them knew actually how to use the technology within it. Gareth Howard asks, and I'm sure somebody will be able to answer this. Might seem like a silly question, I'm not sure, but are Nocta Macro wireless headphones waterproof? Pete Terrell, I'm sure you could answer that one straight away. So your favourite personal find, did we asked that question before, you said you had a few of them. What is your favourite one personally?
It's got to be the Alexander the Great, because even if it is a counterfeit, when's it counterfeited from? Yeah.
And obviously the rarity, especially in the UK.
Yeah, exactly. For it to be where it is, and even why would you counterfeit a coin from 300 years ago, even if they did it later on?
Yeah.
Because the currency wouldn't be used, and how's it got there? It's really astounding, because you work out all these scenarios on the possibilities of it being there. I mean, like I say, I've had Roman, Emmerich II, 1300s, and an Alexander the Great, all within a mile of each other.
Did you just say 300 years for Alexander the Great?
No, 1300s for the Matrix seal.
Sorry, I thought when you said the Alexander the Great, I thought you said 300 years. I was going to say, surely that would be over 2,000.
No, if it were counterfeited 300 years apart.
Oh, right, sorry, I'm with you.
Original. Yeah.
I'm with you. Apologies.
Yeah, but surely if they were counterfeiting them, it must be the same age as the original coins.
Yes, sounds perfect, yeah. Pete says, not waterproof, but weatherproof. Go out in the rain, fine, but don't throw them in a lake.
Yeah.
Maybe not the monsoon type rain, but the kind of rain a normal person would be happy to stand in. It should be fine. So
well,
that answers that question.
Doesn't the simplex vibrate as well?
Again, I'm not 100%. Pete, is that the case? I would presume so.
I think it does, with it being fully waterproof. I'm sure it vibrates for underwater use.
It's something I'm very much looking forward to seeing firsthand in the field, as opposed to videos, because obviously videos, it's down to the individual's interpretation as opposed to the personal use of it. So
yeah, I agree with that. I would like to.
It does have a vibrate function. Sorry.
Goodness.
So yes. I know Scotty B was going on about something there, but I thought it was a question, but it's not. So I had to read it and couldn't understand what he was on about. Mind you, that Scotty B is a Geordie. So, is there anything else you'd like? Is there any? First of all, is there any more questions that anybody else would like to ask either Ben or anybody else within the chat room, and then we can get them out the way and see if there's anything left thereafter. And we don't have any questions currently. So, is there anything else you'd like to add, Ben?
No, not really. Just that if anybody is looking to sign up and wants more information about it, then just go to the website and read. And by all means, if there's anything else you do want to know that you think about, I can be contacted via the website on the email or anything like that, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Marvellous. A little pimp from Pete. He says it's waterproof, rechargeable, backlit, LCD, LED torch, vibrate function, manual ground balance at 290 and wireless, all for £299.
Is he on
I
commission?
have to ask that for Christmas, I think.
It's one hell of a price for a bit of kit if it does what they say it does.
Certainly does. And from what I did see, I mean, I've mentioned this several times lately. An American gentleman called Andy Sabich, who's an author. He writes a lot of books. Not an author as in fiction. He writes a lot of books for the likes of different metal detectors, XP and such like. He was having a play while we were there with the... he asked Dilek, can I take it out into the field? And one of her technicians went along with the working version that they had there to have a play in the fields. And I think he was there for about 10 minutes, and lo, he had 2 Roman coins up.
Wow.
Obviously, he went over to the Portable Antiquities scheme, which I was there at the same time doing some video for the Facebook page. And he got the information of what they were. Now, I went back with him to the Nocta Macro 10, chatted to Dilek, said how, really good that, and took some photographs and such like. And he said to Dilek, do you mind if I have another play for another 5 minutes? So he didn't go into the field. He actually stood in front of the Nocta Macro stall at Detectable, and straight away had another Roman coin up. And that was on pasture. It was pasture the field we were on, and it was ploughed the field that he'd found the 2 earlier. So automatically you've got 2 different land types, and he's bringing up more or less the same things.
That's unbelievable, that. Especially where it had been well trodden.
Definitely. Peter L said, I'm not getting into the performance. My tin hat isn't as sturdy as Sid's, but I know what it can do and look forward to seeing more people's opinions. Scotty B's asked me to put the links up on Facebook. That won't be a problem, Scott. I'll be able to do that. As well as obviously the National Metal Detecting Register. I feel it's only fair that I give other people... I've got to sit on the fence, so I'm going to obviously put the details on for the Detector Register as well. Please don't think that's in any way a slant against yourself, but I like to be a bit fair.
No, that's no problem.
Give people the obviously options. Anyway, Ben, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for putting up with my questions. Again, don't think if any of them are an attack. It's just I like new things. I like to know all about as deeply as possible. So thank you for putting up with me there.
No problem.
Thank you for everybody to coming along tonight. There's a little button somewhere upon your page which will say follow. So if you'd like any updates regarding the shows that we put out, you click on that and you'll automatically receive some form of communication to tell you that the shows are live. Now, not only will you get the metal detecting shows and what I'm currently doing when Mike isn't able to put on an All Metal Mode UK podcast, we are replacing it with the Big Metal Detecting podcast. Obviously, that is where we are today. On Sunday night just gone though, we done another one because the Big Podcast Network, we're also incorporating archaeology, pseudo-archaeology. I think will even be some cryptozoology and other historical information that people hopefully find interesting. And on Saturday night, I interviewed a gentleman called Andrew Collins, Now, Andrew has a book out today called Tony, help, you listen. The Denisovan Origins. I hope that's right. Tony, tell me if I'm right. Which was one of the best podcasts I've ever been involved in. And to the point that I've actually listened to it, and I never ever listen to a show over unless there's a part of information I'm trying to find. So if you'd like to give that a listen, and you go into the running list for all the shows that have been, and the Andrew Collins one is in there. So there'll be lots of other types of podcasts coming up, some that may not take your fancy, and like Tony will tell you that, you know, it was a very, very good guest that we had on. So give it a follow, or look out for us on the Archaeology Metal Detecting magazine on Facebook, where we'll obviously let people know all about any future shows and such like. Finally, I'd like to give mention to Leisure Promotions. Obviously, Pete's always supported whatever we've done as the Archaeology Metal Detecting magazine, and again, he's here tonight listening to the show, so thank you, Pete, and Leisure Promotions. Scotty B, North of Tyne Metal Detecting on Facebook. If you give them a like, there's several thousand, or maybe just over 1,000, I'm not sure, people on there at the moment, and Scotty is currently in the process, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying so, of organising quite a big dig in the north of the UK next year, which he's invited ourselves to. To All Metal Mode UK. Again, unfortunately, Mike's not available tonight. He's got other commitments. Lance Goolsby at Global Detecting Adventures. And as Tony's here, I'll give Team Rootus UK and its app a shout as well. So thank you all for listening tonight. I think Mike's back next week. The following week, the 17th, he will be able to produce a show again. So we'll be here again on the Big Metal Detecting Podcast. And hope you're all well. Thank you again, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you to Ben for coming on and putting up with me and explaining everything about the National Metal Detecting Register. Thanks, everyone.
The Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine acts as a hub for information, offering articles from archaeologists, detectorists and other specialists throughout the genre, featuring many links, event info and news articles associated to archaeology and metal detecting. We also offer professional review services and promotion for books, resources, videos, documentaries, gadgets, equipment and much, much more. The magazine is run by the archaeological and metal detecting community for the archaeological and metal detecting community. So come visit us at archmdmag.com, that's archmdmag.com, and check out information from our media section with all the latest content, news from the Archaeology channel, podcasts and the YouTube channels that feature the now legendary Digger Dawn, the Man with the Hat and Archeo Duck, just to name a few. If you would like to offer an article, link or inquire about other services, then pay us a visit at archmdmag.com and drop us a line.